You know, every once in a while we get a movie that is so much better than what its ad campaign made it out to look like. It really stuns us. Edge of Tomorrow, All You Need Is Kill, Live, Die, Repeat, Sunshine of the Forever Neverland, or whatever title they eventually ended up with for this movie, was one such movie. Edge of Tomorrow is truly one of the worst marketing campaigns for a film in history, because they made the movie look like some psychedelic philosophical journey with this terrible song. I don't know if you remember that song, Rob, that was in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
This is not the end. What? I mean, honestly, it didn't look like anything I even wanted to see. It looked like something not a lot of people wanted to see. And sure enough, opening weekend came and not a lot of people went to go see it because it looked terrible. But the movie was awesome.
Awesome.
It was awesome. And it started to get some legs, but it was a little too late. So it only made, I think, something in the $300 million range. I can't remember. But the point is, ever since that first one came out and how great it was, there's been a lot of talk about them possibly doing another one. As a matter of fact, DJ Khaled, another one. So I hate myself for doing that. Anyway, so last week, a report came out that they were moving forward with another one. I think it was Daniel RPK who put out a report that they were going to be moving forward with another one now. Well, according now to a news story coming out, that ain't happening. As this news story, this one is coming to us from MovieWeb, who are writing that Tom Cruise sci-fi actioneer 12 years in, we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow, getting a disappointing update. And I'll just scooch down to the main part. It says this: according to Collider, the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow is not currently being developed, shutting down previous reports about the film preparing to begin production before the end of 2026. Warner Brothers still intends to produce the film at some point, but a return to the franchise, which stars Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, is not actively being explored at the moment. Director Doug Liman was also expected to return along with the lead stars. However, concrete milestone in development has not been made, despite rumors. I remember, God, Rob, what year was it that Mary Poppins came out? Not the original, the one with Emily Blunt.
Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah, no, like the one with Lin-Manuel Miranda and Emily Blunt. I want to say
that's Mary
it was
Poppins
the same
Returns.
year Aquaman came out. It was the same year Jason Momoa's first Aquaman movie came out.
Maybe
2018. That's what some people in the live chat are saying. Some people in the live chat are saying 2018. So here was the I don't know if you guys had heard this story before, but what happened was apparently Tom Cruise and Doug Liman were all set and ready to do a sequel. And they got on the phone with Emily Blunt and they're like, okay, we're ready to do, this is like 2016. We're ready to do a sequel. We're ready to go. And we're going to film in this period of time. But Emily Blunt had literally, I think the way the story goes was like just 48 hours earlier, had signed the contract to do Mary Poppins that was going to be shooting at the same time that Doug Liman and Tom Cruise wanted to do an Edge of Tomorrow 2. And she was like, I want to do this so bad, but I can't. Like, I just made a commitment in that period of time, and they have just never gotten back around. They've just never gotten around to getting the gang back together again to take another run at it. And again, some hopes got raised last week when that report came out saying they're going to shoot by the end of the year. And first of all, any of us who keep up to date on what's going on probably knew that sounded suspicious because we know Tom Cruise's schedule right now is incredibly packed. So that didn't seem viable. It would have been really surprising if it had turned out to be true. But apparently now that report's been shot down and they're saying that nope. No Edge of Tomorrow 2 for you. So yeah. Anyway, Rob, some movies, they have a ticking clock for if you don't get a sequel done by a certain time, there's no point in doing it. I think Edge of Tomorrow is one that can be made 15 years later, 20 years later. The only catch is Tom Cruise is approaching 70. And he's still in remarkable shape. I mean, don't get me wrong, but there is a bit of a clock on that. And I think, despite all my years of optimism that at some point they're going to get this done, I don't think we're ever going to get an Edge of Tomorrow 2. I mean, it might get rebooted at some point, but I'm starting to doubt that we're actually ever going to get this thing. Rob, you heard this story. What's your takeaway of it? Do you think we're ever going to get one? Are you surprised that the rumor that they're about to start production has been shot down? What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, I think this whole property is really interesting. Like, we did get another adaptation of this. It's based originally on a manga.
Yeah, All You Need Is Kill.
All You Need Is Kill. They released last year a anime adaptation of the story under the title All You Need Is Kill. So, I thought one of the great botched. I mean, I have a steelbook from Japan of the movie, the Tom Cruise movie, under the title All You Need Is Kill. And I really think that was a mistake to not release it under that title and make it called Edge of Tomorrow, because what does that even mean? I think that this was an example where the studio, at least the studio marketing department, was completely adrift. They had no idea how to market this movie, when the obvious answer is this is the ultimate gamer movie ever made. It's about playing a level, learning how to beat the level and respawning and going in and passing the level and getting to the next level. And the audience that this movie was made for was the very audience that made video games so incredibly popular. And they apparently never figured that one out. So people still think this movie is either called Live, Die, Repeat, which was the tagline, or Edge of Tomorrow. And this is as you pointed out, one of the great science fiction films of the 21st century. It's a fantastic movie that is brilliantly acted, brilliantly directed, and Tom Cruise is fantastic in it. And I just don't understand. I know it didn't have the box office. It didn't have the box office that they'd wanted, but clearly in ancillary markets, whether it's on streaming, cable, physical media, this movie was more of a hit. And I would have thought that they would have figured out a way to do another version of it. Now, they could. I mean, they can always go back and do Tom Cruise doesn't necessarily have to be in the mech suit. He could be leading troops or something. I think it's just silly.
He could kind of take Brendan Gleeson's role from the first one.
Yeah, and you could bring in like Tom Cruise Maverick, or Tom Cruise Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. You could play it along those lines, because this movie is beloved. Yeah. I don't know anybody who doesn't like this movie. And it's still, obviously, they made an animated movie adapting it last year, so it's still a very viable proposition. So I would love to see a sequel to this. I don't know why there isn't one. I think this is probably one of Tom Cruise, other than movies like Jerry Maguire, or Risky Business, this is probably one of the Tom Cruise movies people love the most.
Yeah, despite the fact that, when it was in theaters, it didn't have a ton of people that wanted to go see. But I agree. Like, listen, I'm sure there are people out there who don't like the movie, and that's fine. But like you, I don't personally know anybody that didn't like this movie.
Me neither.
But again, when you look back at how they botched the marketing on this thing, like first of all, just the title alone was terrible. It sounded like a daytime soap opera title. The Edge of Tomorrow.
What does that have to do with the film?
And why they just didn't keep All You Need Is Kill. It is a memorable, stick in your head,
intriguing. You're like, what does that mean?
Title that already has a little bit of IP recognition. And then they put out the horrible trailers. And then when it went to home video, the bad decisions continued, because you remember for a little while, they actually changed the name of the movie to Live, Die, Repeat, which was the tagline of the movie. And then suddenly they made it the title of the movie. And then they backtracked off that and renamed it back to Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, this was a Keystone Cops, Benny Hill kind of like, it was just for such a good movie. I hope at some point, someday, we get around to getting another one. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you disappointed that those reports we heard are apparently not true, that we're not about to get an Edge of Tomorrow sequel. I really hope we do someday, but I'll be honest with you, I'm getting to the point now that I've kind of given up hope on it. Although I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see this thing. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.